I would never have thought that simple fruits could restore my ability to walk. But that's exactly what happened. When I say returned, I mean real changes, not some miracle. Today I climb the stairs again, step outside without my cane, stand calmly by the stove, and my legs obey me. Just a few years ago, it seemed to me that I was doomed to live with constant
I don't know
pain,
what to do.
heaviness, and swelling. My name is Margarita. I am 92 years old, and I want to share with you what changed my life. Not advertising, not medicine, and not surgeries, but nature itself. 4 fruits, just 4, that step by step helped me regain lightness and strength in my legs. I am neither a doctor nor a magician, just a person who has lived a long life and learned to listen to my body. And I am sure that if you watch this video to the end, you too will be surprised at how simple the first steps to recovery can be. But before we continue, I would like to ask you for one thing. If you care about your health and want your legs to serve you as long as possible, support this idea. Subscribe and write something in the comments. I begin my journey to lightness. These words are not just a comment. This is the first step. When a person decides to change, the changes have already begun. Now let's get to the point. Why do legs become heavy with age? Why do many experience pain, swelling, and fatigue, even after a short walk? I used to think it was just a consequence of age, that the time had come. But that's not the case. Age is not a sentence. The problem often lies in the blood no longer circulating freely, the vessels becoming fragile, and the muscles not receiving nourishment. The body seems to forget how to function. When I started searching for answers, I realized a simple truth. The legs do not age first. They simply signal a problem first. They scream, "I lack movement, warmth, and nourishment." Before, I did what many did, used ointments, made rubs, took pain pills. This provided temporary relief. But one day I remembered how in my youth during the summer, I ate fruits by the basketful, apples, pomegranates, bananas, kiwis. Back then my legs never hurt, and I wondered if my body simply lacked what I used to give it. So I started experimenting not with medicines, but with fruits. Every day I chose 1 or 2, ate them at different times, and observed my body's reaction. After a week, I noticed that my legs were swelling less by the evening. After a month, I was able to climb the stairs without holding onto the handrail. 3 months later, I visited the park for the first time in a long time without pain and shortness of breath. I couldn't hold back tears of joy, not pain. You know, I don't believe in miracles, but I believe in self-care. When you stop ignoring your body and start listening to it, it responds in kind. The fruits I will talk about are not just food. They are like a living support from nature itself. They contain what our bodies lack after 60, 70, and even 90 years. Lightness, water, vitamins, and life. Many elderly people are afraid to eat fruits. Suddenly sugar levels might rise. Suddenly the stomach might not hold. I also felt fear. However, it turned out that with reasonable consumption and the right choice, fruits are not harmful, but rather fill the body with energy, gently cleanse the vessels, and improve blood circulation. It is only important to know which fruits are beneficial for the health of the legs. And this is where my real story begins. I chose 4 fruits, each of which had its own effect on me. One improved circulation, the second helped eliminate swelling, the third promoted joint mobility, and the fourth restored my energy and confidence in movement. But before I tell you about them, I want you to remember one important thought. If your legs feel heavy now and you feel like you are losing strength, do not think that all is lost. Our bodies can recover at any age, even at 92. I am living proof of that. You just need to help him a little and give what is lacking. I will explain everything in detail and simple words so that you can try it yourself without risk and complicated schemes. In the end, I will share which of these 4 fruits became my favorite, the one after which I first felt lightness again, like in my youth. The first fruit that started my recovery is the pomegranate. I have always loved it since childhood, but for many years I simply forgot about it. When you are over 80, it sometimes seems too late to remember such little things. But he became my first step towards bringing life back to my legs. I remembered how my mother used to give me pomegranate in winter, when there were no fresh vegetables and berries. She would say, "Eat, daughter, it cleans the blood." And I smiled, not understanding what she meant. But many years later, I realized how right she was. As the years go by, the blood becomes thicker, the vessels lose their elasticity, and the legs tire more quickly. Have you noticed that after sitting for a long time, It's hard to get up, or after a short walk, do the legs feel as if filled with lead? This happens because blood and lymph do not circulate as freely as before. And here is the pomegranate, a fruit that can gently ignite this inner river. I started drinking pomegranate juice every day, but not in large quantities, just half a glass in the morning or afternoon. Sometimes I would simply eat the seeds with a spoon, enjoying their taste. A week later, I noticed that my legs felt lighter by evening. The throbbing had stopped, and after 2 weeks, I took off my socks for the first time in a long time and saw that the swelling had almost disappeared. Pomegranates are beneficial not only for blood vessels, but also for the heart. It contains a lot of potassium, vitamin C, and other substances that strengthen blood vessel walls and improve circulation. And surprisingly, all this is without pills and chemicals, just nature, working as intended. But I noticed something else. When I started drinking pomegranate juice, my appetite and mood improved. Energy and the desire to move again emerged. This is not just suggestion, it's the chemistry of life itself. When the blood becomes more vibrant, the whole body seems to awaken. I even started sleeping better, and the morning cramps in my calves, which had tormented me for months, became rare and less painful. One day, my neighbor Zenita Stepanovna noticed that I had started walking around the house again. She approached and curiously asked, "Margarita Ivanovna, what happened to you? You seem to have become lighter on your feet." I smiled and replied, "I just added a bit of pomegranate juice to my life." She laughed, didn't believe it, and decided to try it herself. After a couple of weeks, she returned to me and said, "You know, I really feel lighter." So we started drinking a little pomegranate juice every day. Each day we added a spoonful of olive oil, as the doctor recommended, for better vitamin absorption. At first it seemed trivial, but soon it became a good habit. Now it's our little morning ritual, like exercise, only tastier. If you want to try, remember a few simple rules. First, don't buy sour juice with preservatives. It is best to use fresh juice or make it yourself. Secondly, do not drink too much at once. Half a glass a day is sufficient, preferably after meals to avoid irritating the stomach. And thirdly, if you have acidity issues, the juice can be diluted with water. The secret of the pomegranate lies not only in its vitamins, but also in its ability to improve circulation, enriching the joints and muscles. The better the circulation, the easier it is for your legs. You will feel this in just a couple of weeks. Sometimes we think that help must be complex, expensive, and scientific, while in reality, everything genius is within reach. I do not claim that a pomegranate is a cure for all ailments, but for me, it has become a symbol of movement. Each grain is like a drop of life, restoring the strength of a weary body. If you want to bring lightness back to your legs, try slowly, without expecting a miracle. Just give yourself a chance and write, "I will start with a pomegranate." This will be your first step, not toward eternal youth, but to feel alive, light, and confident in your body again. Sometimes when I pour juice into a glass, I think, I've lived so many years, yet only now I realize how everything in the body is connected. Our legs are not just support, they are a symbol of movement and life. When they are healthy, the whole body thrives, but when they struggle, the soul finds it difficult too. Therefore, friends, do not spare time in taking care of your feet. Even the simplest actions can bring you confidence, energy, and joy. Now that I have talked about the pomegranate, I want to share another fruit that has become a true revelation for me. He is much more modest, but without him, I would not have achieved what I have today. If the pomegranate breathed life into my veins, then this fruit strengthened my muscles and helped my legs find a reliable support. It gives strength and protects the heart, especially at our age. And it is about him that I will talk next. The second fruit that helped me regain confidence in my legs is the banana. I once considered it just a sweet treat, something not for elderly people, too caloric, and that was a mistake. The banana is a fruit of strength. It helped my muscles wake up again, free from tremors and cramps. I remember waking up at night from cramps in my legs, as if someone was squeezing my calves with an iron hand. This feeling is familiar to many, especially after 70, when muscles lose their elasticity and circulation slows down. I tried various ointments, warmed my legs, and took baths, but the relief was short-lived until I learned that a common cause of cramps is a lack of potassium and magnesium. And where can you find them in large quantities and in an easily digestible form? In a regular banana. At first, I was skeptical. How could a banana affect my muscles? Nevertheless, I decided to try eating one fruit a day, in the morning, sometimes adding it to my porridge, and sometimes just on its own. After a few days, I noticed that my legs stopped cramping at night. After a week, it became easier to get out of bed, and my walk became more confident. Ultimately, bananas truly nourish muscles, help maintain necessary tone, relieve spasms, and improve nerve conductivity. Importantly, they are also good for the heart, as the heart is a muscle too. When it functions steadily, blood flows more easily, and therefore, the legs receive more oxygen and nutrients. Bananas contain potassium, magnesium, some vitamin B6, and even tryptophan, a substance that forms serotonin, the happiness hormone. Thus, the banana not only strengthens the muscles but also contributes to our calmness, resilience, and frankly, kindness to ourselves. I prefer to eat a banana in the morning, sometimes half a fruit before a walk. This little ritual has become a symbol of self-care for me. I used to think it was too late to change at my age, but then I realized that age doesn't matter to the body. The main thing is to keep nourishing it. One day I shared my discovery about bananas with my granddaughter. She smiled and noticed, "Grandma, this is what athletes eat to prevent muscle fatigue." I replied, "Am I not an athlete? I train to live every morning now." And there is truth in that. In old age, even a simple walk becomes a real workout. Every step is a workout for the heart, joints, lungs, and every small muscle. For the muscles to function, they need nourishment. A banana provides exactly what is needed: energy, resilience, and softness. Moreover, this fruit has another advantage. It improves digestion. When the intestines function steadily, blood pressure decreases, swelling reduces, and joints become more mobile. All of this is links in one chain. If you want to try, add half a banana to your breakfast. It can be in porridge, yogurt, or simply with a teaspoon of honey. The main thing is to do it regularly. After a couple of weeks, you will feel that your legs have become stronger and your mood lighter. One day during a walk, I noticed that I had stopped needing to rest. I walked calmly and steadily, and the thought arose in my mind, it seems I am starting to live on my own feet again. If the pomegranate gave me lightness, then the banana gave me confidence. The pomegranate ignited my blood, while the banana strengthened my muscles, making them reliable and alive. Together, they seem to restore an old mechanism that started working harmoniously again. If you feel that your legs often cramp, tremble after a long walk, or become weak, try adding a banana to your diet. It's not a panacea, but sometimes the simplest things have the greatest impact. Write in the comments, "I will add a banana to my life." Let this be your quiet promise to care for your own body, not out of fear, but out of love. Now that we have discussed muscles and blood, it's time to move on to another important component: the joints that allow us to move freely and without discomfort. The next fruit I will talk about was a real discovery for me. It not only strengthened my joints, but also returned elasticity to my skin and lightness to my steps. The third fruit worth mentioning is kiwi. Small, modest, with a fuzzy skin. For a long time, it just stood on my table, serving as decoration. I thought, what is special about it? Yes, it's tangy and bright. But, as it turned out, it concealed an amazing power of which I was completely unaware. The kiwi became a symbol of flexibility in both body and life for me. When you are over 90, the body does not forgive inactivity. If you sit too long, it becomes hard to straighten your back. If you walk a bit more than usual, the joints start to ache and creak. And indeed, it is the joints that are our unnoticed helpers. They help us move for years, but over time they lose their elasticity, like old fabric. I noticed how my movements became more cautious, as if every step needed to be carefully planned. Even simple morning bends to the cupboard turned into real challenges. But one day I came across an article stating that kiwi is a true champion in vitamin C content, and not just for supporting immunity, as we often think, but also for collagen production, which forms the basis of joints, skin, ligaments, and blood vessels. Without collagen, the body loses its lubrication. That's why we become rigid and constrained, as I jokingly say. Then I decided, I will eat one kiwi a day, sometimes in the morning, sometimes as an afternoon snack. I didn't expect miracles. I just wanted to support my health. But the result turned out to be much more impressive than I could have imagined. After a few weeks, I noticed it became easier to get out of bed. My knees stopped creaking with every movement, and the skin on my legs became softer and less dry. At first, I thought it was just a placebo effect, but then I realized my body was truly starting to recover. Kiwi is not just a fruit. It's a real pharmacy in a green shell. It contains not only vitamin C, but also vitamin E, folic acid, magnesium, potassium, and antioxidants that protect joints and blood vessels from inflammatory processes. It helps improve metabolism, reduces swelling, and aids the body in getting rid of excess fluid, which in turn relieves the legs. Moreover, kiwi promotes better iron absorption, which is especially relevant when the blood becomes lazy. I always say, if you feel that your body has become heavy and clumsy, don't rush to blame age. Just give it what it lacks. Sometimes it's not medicine, but food filled with vitality. I had an experience that I remember for a lifetime. In the neighboring house lives a woman named Vera Pavlovna. She is 88 years old. One day we talked on a bench near the entrance. She said, "Margarita, it's so hard for me to walk. My joints creak like an old door." I noted. In response, she smiled and said, "Try adding kiwi to your diet." She laughed, taking my words as a joke, but a month later she approached me with surprise. "You know, I've started getting out of bed without pain, and now kiwi is my favorite fruit." We both laughed. Who would have thought that this simple green flesh could restore mobility to the body? I try to eat kiwis with the skin. It's thin and edible, plus it contains a lot of fiber. The main thing is to wash it thoroughly. If you don't like it, you can simply peel it. The main thing is not to fear the sourness, as it indicates a high vitamin C content. When I enjoy kiwi, it feels like my body is thanking me. It's hard to describe, but inside there is a feeling of lightness, as if my joints are being lubricated from within. Over time, I noticed another change. The morning stiffness in my fingers had significantly decreased. Now I can knit again, peel potatoes, and confidently hold a spoon. These may seem like small things, but they create a sense of freedom in old age. If you feel your body has become stiff, try adding kiwi to your morning diet daily, one fruit a day, and you will notice improvements in a couple of weeks. If you don't like kiwi, you can alternate it with orange or grapefruit. The main thing is to ensure that vitamin C is regularly supplied to the body. When I tell people that kiwi helped me regain mobility in my joints, they smile. But it's true. If pomegranate warms the blood and banana strengthens muscles, then kiwi makes movement soft and lively. He seemed to have lubricated my inner mechanism, which had long been working without proper care. Remember this. I will add kiwi to my day. These are not just words. This is your little promise to yourself. Start small and do it with love, not because you have to, but because your body deserves attention. Ahead lies the last fourth fruit, the one that, as I now understand, completes my story. It is not exotic, it is common and inexpensive. It has been with me all my life, but I did not realize that it could restore strength to my legs, lift the burden, and return youth to my stride. This fruit became my point of return to myself, to movement and joy, and I will tell you about it further. The fourth fruit that completed my journey to recovery is the apple. The simplest, most familiar, but perhaps the most underrated. My whole life, apples were nearby, on the table, in compote, in the garden, in my grandson's pocket. We ate them without thinking, yet they quietly supported us until we realized it. When I started eating apples every day again, I didn't expect anything special. I just remembered how, as a child, after working in the garden, I enjoyed a juicy apple, feeling life itself entering me. Back then, I didn't understand that it was not just flavor, but real nourishment for the blood, joints, and vessels. As we age, our body becomes less efficient at cleansing. Blood thickens, metabolism slows down, and toxins linger longer, leading to swelling, heaviness, joint pain, and fatigue. And it is here that the apple has shown itself like no other fruit